Hey, Terry, I showed 10 o'clock on my computer. Is it time to get started?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Well, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to this May 1st, 2025 meeting of the Workers' Compensation Management Labor Advisory Committee meeting. I'm Patrick Priest, the co-chair for the management side. And as we start each meeting, it's my pleasure to give our affirmation that management and labor came up with together a few years ago. We would like to thank everyone for their time, effort, and participation in our work before us today. We want to recognize that it's very difficult and important work, and we appreciate and value your perspectives and professionalism that everyone brings here today. Thank you. All right, with that, I will turn it over to our administrator, Terry Watson, to do a roll call.
Thank you. Sarah Merrick.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. Sarah Duffball.
Here.
Good morning, Sarah. Co-chair Strickland is absent. Ryan Hearn. Hold on just a sec, let me check. I do not see Ryan. I did not hear he was not going to be here, so okay, we'll just see. Maybe he'll show up. Margaret Woodell.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Margaret. Stacy Llewellyn is absent today. Let's see. Lauren Bowling.
Present via video.
Good morning. Co-chair Priest.
Present.
Okay. Emily Rivas. I see you. I think you're on mute. Okay. And Kim Schlesinger.
Present.
Okay. Okay, we have a quorum.
All right, well, thank you for that. And the next item on the agenda is public comment, and we do have one scheduled public comment for Kristen Adams from ACG, the Oregon Columbia chapter. Kristen, we can't hear you though.
Better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, that's strange. Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comment. For the record, Kirsten Adams, representing AGC, Associated General Contractors, but also expressing concerns for the broader business community as well. I wanted to bring to your attention Senate Bill 174. It is currently in the Senate awaiting a second reading before receiving a vote on the Senate floor. A little background, this bill allows for third-party lawsuits under the Unlawful Trade Practices Act, or UTPA, around insurance. This bill has been brought forward in a very similar form multiple times over the past 20 years. It's not a bill that we were initially concerned about from the workers' compensation perspective because workers' comp has historically been exempted from these bills. In talking to folks who have worked on this issue in years past, they can't remember a time when the bill came out of committee that did have workers' comp included in it and didn't have the exemption. And so we had no reason to believe that wouldn't be the case this year. However, despite several stakeholders raising the issue, the bill passed out of committee with workers' compensation still included. We have concerns that this impacts the broader workers' comp system in terms of exclusive remedy, that it will allow for lawsuits that are currently would not be allowed and would then create an issue with one of the main tenets of workers' comp of the exclusive remedy. So as you all know, exclusive remedy is a principle that all claims in workers' compensation realm must be dealt with within the system, which benefits both employees and employers, and also continues on with our no-fault tenet in the workers' comp system. By opening up lawsuits against workers' comp insurers, the exclusive remedy no longer exists, and that creates an issue for sort of the baseline of our of our system. So I wanted to bring this to the attention of MLAC because it's our belief that this should come to MLAC if it impacts workers' comp and the exclusive remedy provisions. And at this point, that conversation could happen as the House considers the bill. We don't know on the timing yet of when the Senate will be taking up the bill. So we don't quite know the timing on when the House will be taking up the bill, but just wanted to flag this. I think the reason why it didn't come to you all initially is just historically this hasn't become a workers' comp issue, but it definitely has become one as this bill came out without an exemption for workers' comp. So I just wanted to flag that, bring that to all of your attention, and happy to have any further conversation about that. And thank you again for the time.
Thank you for bringing that important issue forward. Are there any questions? Sarah Duckwall has her hand raised.
Thank you, Co-Chair Priest. I don't have a question for Kirsten, but just in general, why haven't we seen this at MLAC yet? And why hasn't it been flagged for us to review with workers' comp and exclusive remedy being a position I feel we should take up?
Co-Chair Priest, Teresa Van Winkle, the Legislative Director for DCBS, is up to the table. I can defer over there if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to call on her. I know she's very knowledgeable about these matters.
Good morning, Co-Chair Priest, members of the committee. For the record, Teresa Van Winkle, Legislative Director of DCBS. To answer your question, I think Kirsten summarized it correctly. There was that as to historically why bills of this nature have not come in front of MLAC. Specific to Senate 174, in talking with the governor's office, I have been directed to just hold off on deliberation with MLAC, see what happens with the bill. But I will pass on this conversation to the governor's office for their awareness.
Sarah, did you have a follow-up comment or question?
Thank you for that. I appreciate that explanation. I still, as a committee, would like it brought before us if it moves out of the Senate. I don't know if that's an extra meeting that needs to be scheduled or something that we can deliberate on as a committee.
I think, given the nature and the directive from the governor's office, I would have to pass along clearance about this, about deliberation to the co-chairs and to Terry before it can be scheduled.
Co-Chair Priest, Director Stolfi just joined us.
Sure. Director, it's a pleasure to have you here. And do you have some comments or clarity to add?
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Stolfi. Sorry, I had a meeting over at the Capitol. I missed the lead-in. I'm assuming Teresa did an excellent job saying what needed to be said, but happy to answer specific questions if anyone has.
Sarah, would you like to repeat your question for Director
Yeah,
Stolfi?
it's more of a statement that, or I guess, if it's workers' comp related and it deals with exclusive remedy, why is MLAC not considered the body that it should go before?
I gave the basic answer, but I mean, Sarah, I guess I should a clarifying question to you. Are you looking for like specific reasons for the governor's office and the directive that has been given to me?
No, does the governor have authority to tell us not to deal with workers' comp issues? I
Actually,
guess
she does. Yes, because it is a governor-appointed board. Yes, she does.
Okay. Can I humbly disagree? Thank you.
I guess it's are there any other comments or questions? We heard, Sarah, thank you for bringing that forward. It does seem like a workers' compensation matter, or is there other thoughts or opinions about it?
Seeing as we serve at the discretion of the governor, I prefer to just defer to what their stance is on this bill. And also, I feel like it's pretty late in the process at this point.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Bowling, for those comments. I think I heard. Thank you. I know you have a legal background, so I think you would be able to maybe explain, hopefully also about exclusive remedy. I don't, but anyway, I'll let you make your comment as you would like.
Me?
Yes, please, Margaret,
Okay.
please go ahead.
I guess I would say that I agree with Lauren, but even more importantly than that, before I would have an opinion as to whether or not it would be appropriate for MLAC to take a look at the bill. I would want to take a look at the bill and to see why people think the exclusive remedy might be affected.
Thank you. That's a very good comment. But I guess if we're asked not to look at the bill at all, then we can't do that. But it is a public record. I imagine Kristen saw the bill because it's something that's available online. And any of us on this committee could look it up, and I think it's been flagged by by Kirsten. And we could look at it and bring it back, bring our concerns forward. It sounds pretty core to workers' compensation, the concept of exclusive remedy. Legal concerns are not my area of expertise, but I would like to understand that better myself. I heard from the division that it is something that is being considered for us to look at it if something happens. Did I hear that correctly?
What I can do, Co-Chair Priest, is I can pass along the information. So right now the bill is currently sitting at the Senate President's desk. It's like behind the black curtain. It has not been, so it is slated to be voted on by the Senate chamber, but it has not happened yet. And there's no definitive date of when that'll happen as well. I think also too, in looking back in the conversation, the level of interest into for review, personal review and such. If the committee so chooses to want to provide a statement or request, I can pass that information along to the governor's office for consideration.
All right. I see Sarah has her hand raised.
I wish for the committee to put a statement forward for MLAC review.
Margaret, I see your hand raised as well.
Is it possible that we could have a short conference before we, a little caucus before we discuss this, or is that not set up, Terry?
It's not set up. It would probably take me 2 minutes to do that. Because since everybody's virtual, I can do that. Lickety split.
I did receive, if you want to do that, Terry sent me a message that there is another person who would like to make public comment, and perhaps we could listen to them while Terry sets up this caucus. Thank you. That was a great idea, Margaret. Thank you. And so I am going to call on Sean Miller, who I'm not sure what he's going to ask about. Hopefully it's something, or she is about this.
Hi, co-chairs, members of the committee. Sean Miller. I'm here today on behalf of the American Property Casualty Insurance Association, and I've been involved in this debate.
Can you please speak up a little bit? I'm sorry, online, I'm not able to hear you very clearly.
Yeah, maybe go over there.
Yeah, I'll go over here. I'll look at this side. All right, thank you, co-chairs. Is this better? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you better now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sean Miller of the American Property Casualty Insurance Association, and I've been involved in this debate for many, many years, trying to add insurance into the Unfair Trade Practices Act. And the UTPA does allow for a private right of action, first party and third party private right of action. So first party being insured can sue their own insurance company, third party where others can sue the other insurance company. So that third party element of the bill is what's concerning. And so if you look at the bill, workers' comp has been exempted over many years. It wasn't when it came out of committee, even though we had requested it. I know others have requested it. And so it's a situation now where we'd love to have MLAC weigh in because, again, the implications are going back to the 1980s. And so in 1990, the reforms and exclusive remedy, if this does not change, the workers' compensation goes right back to the 1980s is the way we see it. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate the industry perspective and the historical knowledge about that. Is there, Terry, are you ready, or is maybe there's someone else that would like to speak to it that's in the room or online before we
Co-Chair,
talk this?
I am ready, but I just want to call for, if you would call for public comment, just to make sure we don't miss anybody before you caucus, that would be great.
Sure, sure. Is there anyone else in the room or in the room in person or online who would like to make public comment before we take a time to caucus among our management and labor teams?
Do you see anybody, Bubba, online? Okay. All right. There is no one in the room, co-chair.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're ready to caucus then, and I appreciate you working quickly to make this happen, and thank you very much, Margaret, for providing that very good idea. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, it looks like all the caucus members are back, and we met as a group, and I see Sarah has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Co-Chair Priest. MLAC would like more information on Senate Bill 174 with the opportunity to review the impact to the workers' comp system if it moves out of the Senate.
Thank you. Is there any further comment or question by anybody?
Can I ask a clarifying question? How soon would you like that information, Sarah?
If it moves out of the Senate.
I'm sorry, can you say that
If
again?
it moves out of the Senate.
Okay.
Yeah, we're obviously monitoring it, and if we see it's scheduled for something, we can connect with the co-chairs and talk about what that would be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, too. I know that I, along with at least one other division at DCBS, has been monitoring the bill, watching hearings, and can provide synopsis analysis when the time comes.
If I could just note labor's position, as Co-Chair Strickland is absent today, we just want to note that we respect the governor's position on this bill, but also respect management's request for more information. That being said, we as the labor side would not like to take any action on this bill until it is in the direct purview of the MLAC board.
Any other comments or questions? All right, well, hearing none, I think we're moving forward with statements. And let me see, we're still in public comment as far as I know. If there are any other members of the public that have other comments, this would be the time to bring them forward.
Nothing in the room, co-chair.
All right, so let me go back to the agenda. We do have a quorum, so we're able to take action on the minutes, and we do have, let's see, we have 4 sets of minutes. Is there anyone who would like to take one of the sets of minutes out for further discussion? Or is anyone willing to make a motion to act on all of them collectively?
I move we approve all minutes as presented.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Sarah. The 2 Sarahs, Sarah and Sarah, have made this motion. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I vote aye as well. Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, the next item on the agenda are department updates. The first is a Workers' Compensation Board case law update, and we have Autumn Blake listed as providing that. Ms. Blake, I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. I don't know about others.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, members of the committee and co-chair Priest. The board doesn't have any updates at this time.
Okay, are there any questions from the committee for Ms. Blake? Okay, well, thank you very much for attending our meeting today. Right, the next item on the agenda is a workers' comp division update. And Terry Watson has some follow-up from the WBF presentation to present to us.
Yes, co-chair. Kelly Bushka provided an update. There's a link to the document that she provided us, and Kelly is online as well if there's any questions. It's just clarifying information to co-chair Strickland's questions. That is provided to MLAC members. And like I said, if there's any questions for Kelly, she is available online to answer any of those questions.
Since Co-Chair Strickland isn't here, I don't mind deferring this to the next meeting he's present, since it's in response to his request for information. Of course, if anybody has a burning question, I see no hands raised, but I don't know, does anybody? I don't mind moving on and just asking that be brought back to the next meeting that Chair Strickland's at, if that's okay.
That works for me. And Co-Chair Priest, I did want to let you know, Lauren will be at the next meeting, and she's actually going to give a case report on the board report from January to March. She had some cases that she wanted to share.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you.
I can just bring both links back to the June meeting.
Okay, well, good. That sounds good. That'll be fun. All right, I did, were there any other items that you, Administrator Watson, wanted to bring forward? I had one thing for the department update to add, if you didn't mind taking a little time. I just wanted to recognize, I know Andrew Stolfi is in the room, and he is a member of MLAC, as I imagine being the department director. And this, I don't know if it's his last meeting. I know his time with us is running short because he's moving on to, I don't think it's bigger and better. I don't know. He's going somewhere else. And we're gonna miss him a lot. I just wanted to pause and recognize his leadership. I know just me personally as a co-chair, he reached out to me and co-chair Strickland to make sure that we felt supported, that we had everything that we needed. He's always answered the questions, included us in hirings there at the department, and I just really would like to recognize his leadership and thank him for all of his service.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. The employment department is bigger. I won't comment on better or not.
Okay.
Not starting there until June 23rd. So happily here, running through the tape, I guess is the runner's jargon, like right until the end. So you're not rid of me yet, depending on what meetings we have between now and the end of session. But thank you, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, that gives me comfort for the next month or so. So, is there any word on who will fill your very big shoes after June 22nd?
Great question. So the governor, I'm moving to the employment department as part of a whole musical chairs scenario. So the DAS director, Barry Leslie, is retiring and leaving in the middle of June. Betsy Imholt, who's the revenue director, is moving to DAS. David Gerstenfeld, who's the employment director, is moving to revenue, and then I am moving to employment. So little musical chairs. The governor is going to do a open national search for the next DCBS director. might reach out. I wouldn't be surprised if someone who's going to lead, so DAS is going to lead that search because it's for an agency director. My understanding is during the month of May, they're going to reach out to different stakeholders and just say, hey, what are you looking for in the next director? Probably start the recruitment in June, 30-day or so open recruitment, and then go through the typical process that they used the last time that I went through, and the same thing we do for our senior positions here. So I would fully expect MLAC to be asked to participate in a stakeholder type panel to look at the finalists, sometime in July or August, once they get to or near that final round. But open search, anyone welcome to apply. And as far as an interim or acting director, the governor will likely be announcing that in mid-May.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. Thank you for that update. Excellent as always, and I appreciate that. All right, is there anything else in the department updates to be brought forward at this time? Any other questions or comments from the caucus members for the department? We'll move forward then to the next item is the 2025 MLAC legislative bill review.
Co-chair and committee members, that was just for your information. I just emailed that out so you had the document since we kind of finished up our legislative review. So those were all the bills that you reviewed earlier this year and the action that had been taken.
Okay, well,
So,
thank you for that information. Did anybody review and have any comments or questions before we move forward? Well, it was a long list. It made me feel like we did a lot, so that's good. All right, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is to review the updated work plan. And that also was distributed to the caucus members. And I don't know, Terry, did you want to introduce it at all or just open it up for questions?
yes, I just want to, of course, the two highest priorities are the subcommittees for House Bill 3374 and Senate Bill 705. I did remember that Kim and Stacy wanted to be, from management, wanted to be involved with the subcommittees, and I had Margaret, and I was trying to remember who else from labor wanted to be involved with the subcommittees. I want to make sure that we start on that because that's the next first priority on the work plan is to get those subcommittees started. So Emily, okay.
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry, I think that, with Emily and Lauren, that, I would be willing to help if I was needed, but it doesn't really look to me like I will be needed, and we don't need that many.
So Terry, was it one subcommittee? My recollection, there were two different ones, but I don't know, did you want to do it under one umbrella?
No, we're going to have two different subcommittees. They're so different. House Bill 3374 issues to address administrative burden, the lack of providers, access issues, systematic solutions, MCOs, communications workers, and then the Senate Bill 705 issues to address average weekly wage. So there will be two different subcommittees.
Okay. So I see Margaret's hand is raised.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the with Senate Bill 705. It doesn't seem to me that there was anything in 705 that related to open-ended time loss. And I wanted to reiterate that the issues that these are two very separate issues. And I don't think that we have a bill to be talking about regarding the open-ended time loss that you have highlighted on here.
Thank you, Margaret, for that question. I guess there are two things to weigh is the scope of the subcommittee or the charge we're giving the subcommittee. That's first, and then the second thing is who would lead it as you started with, Terry. I think those are two different items, and I think you did highlight, Margaret. Let's start with, let's do yours second. We'll do the first one is 3374. And that's, and it's not necessarily the bill itself, but rather it's the topics of, and let me, I'm in a hotel room right now, so I don't have all my screen, so I have to go find that description there. But I think that the topic for the subcommittee is um, administrative burden and lack of providers for workers' compensation system. Access issues and systematic solutions, MCO's communications with workers. That was something addressed by the bill 3374. And so that could be part of the discussion, but I think it's the underlying topic is the subcommittee's work. Is that, or is it truly just looking at that 3374? Or maybe we need more time to figure that out.
Well, and that's why I highlighted some of it. I know that, and I just leaned over to check with Devo because I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything because there was quite a bit of conversation. I want to make sure that I'm pulling out what it is. So the vehicle is House Bill 3374, but there may be more to the content of the information. So I don't know that we shouldn't call the subcommittee something else, but the vehicle, what, like I said, was House Bill 3374. We may get together as an initial meeting in May and find out, well, maybe we need to talk about this or that or everything else. But there may be more discussion about the information. And Patrick, if I could just address Margaret's open-ended time loss. There was already a group about open-ended time loss, and it's done. It's complete. They have all the information. I reviewed all that information. So I just plugged it in here because it may be something that is dialogue when we get to that subcommittee. So just want to put a marker in the sand there. So, so there, I'm done.
Thank you, Terry, for that. Sarah, I see your hand is raised, but you're on mute. Okay, there you go.
Yep. Thank you, Co-Chair Priest. Why don't we just make it fairly overarching and simple with a subcommittee that addresses access to care issues, and then another subcommittee that looks at TTD and specifically the impact to low wage earners. And then that subcommittee has a charge to parse that out and bring it back to the full committee for recommendation.
I have a suggestion there. Does anybody agree with that suggestion or have follow-up? Margaret?
Well, I just want to make sure, Sarah, are you agreeing that we have all the information we need on time loss and that this subcommittee will not delve into the open-ended time loss, but instead will focus on the amount of time loss?
Impact for low wage earners. Not time loss, or I mean, it's TTD for low wage earners. That's, I believe, the charge of the second subcommittee. Did I not answer that, Margaret?
I'm sorry?
Did I not answer that for you?
No,
or
no, you did. I was nodding. I understand now. Thank you.
Okay. That's just my understanding. So, I mean, if it's, people have others, but I believe that was the charge of the second subcommittee.
Okay. All right. Terry, did you get that documented? And it seemed as though at least two, or there are others on the call that I see. I don't see Lauren. I don't know. So if any of you have any additional thoughts on it. I'm okay with that definition. I just want to make sure everybody else is that's here. Yeah, I'm seeing that. All right, well, there are the definitions for those two subcommittee groups, their charge. And then in terms of leading it, Emily, you raised your hand, and I believe it was for the access to care subcommittee that you were volunteering for or interested in. That
Yes,
was
sir.
my recollection. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then I know I'm going to volunteer Kim if she's still willing to do it. I know. Kim, are you still willing to step up to subcommittee, be the chair of that subcommittee for the management side?
Yes, I will give it a go.
Okay. All right, well, that sounds good. And then for the temporary total disability uh, amounts for low income workers, that subcommittee, um, Stacy Llewellyn, who's not here today, has volunteered to be the subcommittee chair on our side. We've talked about it a couple of times. I know she's not here. I guess we can defer the vote until next time, but that's my recollection of who's going to be our subcommittee chair. And then on the labor side, is there someone that's identified to do that?
Chair, I had Lauren Bowling down. Is that correct, Lauren?
Sure.
All right, that sounds good to me. And so there we go. Is that everything that you need, Terry? And do we need to take action on that? Do you recommend we maybe, I know that when we brought it up last time, we were going to wait till after the session was over. And the session's not over yet, but
Yeah, it is not, but I was hoping we could get an initial meeting in May and start working on it, but I'll check in with the co-chairs of the subcommittees and see how they want to move things forward, okay?
okay, I see a couple of hands raised as well. Sarah and then Kim.
Thank you, Co-Chair Priest. I believe before when we had a subcommittee, we voted on the charge and the who we were appointing from each side. And I think if we have a quorum, we do that today and then let Terry at least move forward with the logistical planning and do the time and cadence of what's agreed upon at the subcommittee level.
Okay, all right. And Kim?
Oh, can I just a clarification on the labor side? Who was the chairs? Was it Lauren for both?
No, it's Emily for the one with you on the
Oh,
access to care, and then Lauren for the one about the benefit levels for low income workers.
oh, thank you. I missed the Emily. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right, there was a call to take a vote. Procedurally, Terry, we could do that if we wanted to? Yep, we can,
Yes.
okay. Do you want to make a motion then, Sarah, as to formalize
Sure.
things?
Yep. I make a motion that MLAC forms two subcommittees to deal with some overarching issues that we have raised in the workers' comp system. One that addresses or looks at the impact and addresses the access to care issue with Emily and Kim being the co-chairs of that. And then one on the impact of low wage earners for TTD, and that would be Lauren and Stacy.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second
I
that.
say,
All right, so we had a fight for seconds. I'll let the two Sarahs take it again because it seems nice symmetry to have one management and one labor make the motion in second. All right, is there any further discussion on this motion? Any clarification needed from you, Terry, at all? Do you have it documented?
Oh, thank you for clarifying. That was very
Good,
helpful.
good. All right, seeing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Hi.
Aye.
I'll vote aye as well. Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And thank you, Terry, for taking the next steps a little earlier than you had originally thought. So, all right, I think we're still on the work plan, and we are there any other comments or questions or concerns about the plan? I see Sarah's got her hand raised again.
Thank you, Co-Chair Priest. I promise this is the last one. I was hoping, Terry, this is great. If we could get a calendar at some point with kind of those items that are repeated throughout the year, so we can kind of tickle that as a committee, that's super helpful. Thank you.
So Sarah, to that point, DCBS has a calendar that we can all add our stuff to. I found out from Angela, who does our MLAC website. So I will get that link for everybody. It has all of our DCBS stuff along with OSHA, DFR, workers' comp. We can add MLAC to it. And so I will get everybody that link. That's one thing I needed to share.
But
so
does it have all of our, like our yearly issues or yearly things that we want to tickle and handle?
All I have to do is have Angela add it to the calendar. It's a calendar of all our stuff. So if you wanted to look, in June is the OSHA Occupational and Safety Conference. You would see that. You'd see our MLAC meetings. You'd see our reports. As soon as I ask Angela to add the MLAC stuff to it, it'll be added. So when I asked Angela about a calendar like that, she said, "Did you know we already have one?" And I said, "No." So yeah, the resource is already available. We just I need to give Angela the materials to add to the calendar. So I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me right now. I apologize.
I have a follow-up question on that, if you don't mind. Is my hope for that calendar was not to know when the MLAC meetings are, but rather, we have certain topics we bring up during the course of the year, like the people from OHSU come and give us a report, and then that we'll get an update on the worker benefit fund, and we have, I don't know, case law updates, like topics. Like, when do we get certain topics? And I think the ombuds office was one of the things that when we have the discussion, it was more like that. We know in May, we normally have X report. That was more the kind of information that I think, I don't know, that's what I was hoping to get. Not because I feel like if I'm looking at everything the department does, that it might get lost what I really need to know. I mean, it's all important, but I'm a volunteer on this board, and I would like to just sort of focus on the things
that are coming your way.
That are coming my way.
Okay, all right. I was thinking too global, so I gotcha. I will go back and see what I can find. Okay. All right.
Did I capture that right, Sarah? Is that kind of in alignment? Okay, that's what you were thinking.
Okay. Good to know. Okay.
Margaret's shaking her head. I think you're okay with that too? Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Okay.
You went off mute and then right on it again, but I know you've got an arm that's hurting, but I see you nodding your head. So
yeah, I'm nodding my head. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So Sarah said that was her last question on the work plan. Does anybody else have one of their own?
So Co-Chair Priest, I actually have a couple more clarifying questions. This is exactly what I needed. For the focus groups, I actually have the data people online with us right now. We were trying to figure out for looking at talking to people, do we want to talk to injured workers? Do we want to talk to employers? Do we want to talk to insurers or stakeholders? What kind of information are we looking for? Can you help me kind of flesh that out? And like I said, the data people are online and they might ask a couple questions too. So what do we want to research? What are your thoughts?
Well, we have two subcommittees that have general topic areas, and so those seem to be important to us.
Okay.
My thoughts to start. Does anybody else have items to assist them, to assist us with what we want to talk about at our meetings? Maybe it's something that we take offline and that we bring back to the next meeting so that we can have a more thoughtful um, conversation about it, I hate to bring up the topic again, but the exclusive remedy, I'd like to know more about that, and I'm just like a legal thing about what the legal requirements are for such a thing. I don't know. It makes me want to know more about it. I don't, it could be around something other than that bill, I suppose.
And I see that Zoe's on camera. She's the one with the cherry blossoms behind her, and she's one of the researchers. So maybe Zoe, do you have anything to lend?
Oh, thanks for calling me out. No, I don't have any specific questions at this time. We are interested to hear a little bit more about the timeline and general scope of things. Raphael and Kelly are also online, so they can chime in if they've got other questions. But just the more we hear about the goals and the things that are important to you, the more specific we can be in our work. Your point about the two committees is very helpful. We can look at those specific things too.
Okay, thank you.
And Co-Chair, we can bring this back if you guys want to think about it a little more.
Thank you for that. I think that would be a good idea. I see someone's hand raised, Rafael Robles, and I'm happy to call on you.
Thank you, Coach Priest. Rafael Robles, I'm another researcher on the research team with DCBS. I do think this would take some more thought that wouldn't necessarily happen here, but just so you have an idea of the questions that might help us and how we think about it. So if thinking about what you're hoping to get out of these focus groups, what specific questions you're looking for, helps us not only start thinking about the script and the interviews themselves, but also the kind of samples that we're going to bring in, who we want to start reaching out to, the scope of that, how many groups we might need, how long that would take. So even those simple questions can kind of inform the larger research plan.
Okay. Did you get some information that would help you today, Raphael?
I do think we're starting to see some of the topics, the general topics, but I think even more specific questions, or at least areas within those, would help as well.
Do you mind sharing like maybe a list of what you're looking for, the information you need, and you could give it to Terry, and then she could distribute it back to us as a committee, and then we'll know exactly how to focus our thinking. I think I probably need some prompts myself.
Yeah, I think we could put that together. Again, this is very early, so we don't exactly know where to go, but we can give you the ideas of what would help us.
And I guess it's safe to say that some places you're interested in looking are access to care and the experiences people have in accessing care from the employer or employee angle. And then also perhaps uniquely you'd want to know about low wage earners as a specific population of interest.
Yeah, that seems fair to me. I don't know. Maybe providers that don't want to be part of work comp. I'd be interested to hear some provider that said, yeah, I'll provide care, but just not to those injured at work. If you could find those people.
That's very helpful because initially I wouldn't be thinking about doctors. I'd be thinking about employers and employees. But that is very helpful for us to think about the population we want to target.
I see Emily's got her hand raised.
Yeah, I would second that. Getting the perspectives of the providers and what some of the barriers are that they're facing to continue providing access to care, especially in more rural areas, would be very helpful.
Well, thank you. I think we made a little bit of progress. I'm seeing you nod your head, Zoe, so. good. And maybe we will need to bring it back regardless. You said we're early, so I don't know, we're early. When is this supposedly on the schedule? Since we don't have, I guess it'd be good to be on the calendar to know when I'm working toward, but.
Okay.
Okay, all right, well, if there's nothing else, I will move on. Let's see, next on the agenda is just an announcement about our upcoming meeting, which is June 5th, and it is also a hybrid meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, and then remember, we don't meet in July.
And no meeting in July, so, okay. All right, is there anything else to be brought before the committee that's not on the agenda? All right, hearing none. Since we are ending early, I always like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Sarah. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Lauren, I believe. And all right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, vote aye as well. Any opposed? All right, hearing none, I adjourn this meeting of MLAC. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next
Thank
month.
you.
Thank